Go inside and open it.
Go inside what? The garage?
Go inside the house. There's a button right above the damn kitchen sink. Press the button, it opens the garage door.
Uh, Listen, folks. We are live, and it is for.
But you gotta keep close because
It is time for
You guys good?
a nighttime camping edition of Om G's Stupid Scary Stories. I'm here live with my son Miles,
On the cramping trip.
my son Jaden, and my bro, the coffee. Spelled with a C.
Yes, nothing.
Tonight's tale of terror is going to be camping related because we're kind of camping. Like,
No, we're camping.
We're-
camping, cuh.
it's like I told y'all before when I was in New Hampshire and we half-ass camped. Well, we're half-ass camping because we're not, from around here, and we've heard some stories. Well, I've heard some stories, especially the story of the lot behind where we're actually sitting here. In fact, let me show you so you can see that this is not bullshit. I'm serious. I'm not joking around. Right?
Yeah, check that out.
Open the tent so you can see behind us where we are. You might not really see much of anything, but it's dark, so you won't see shit. But back in that darkness, behind that wooden fence is a huge damn lot, right? And this lot, I found out today because I was talking about buying a lot and building my, 5 storage acre 5 storage container house I was telling y'all about. But they said, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because it's dangerous. I said, why? They said there's a bunker buried in the fucking ground. Now, why? Why is there a bunker? So I did some digging. They're like, how much digging can you do in one day when you just found it? I Googled it! Don't get caught up in the details. So I Googled some shit, found out about this lot. There used to be an old school on top of this lot here, right? Bam. The bunker, obviously back in those days, they had bunkers for fallout in case, the Ruskies tried to bomb us and shit. Couldn't have that. Bunkers were made. Bam. One day, teachers were getting sick of the kids. Cold War was over. Kids are getting rowdy as fuck because they know the Ruskies aren't going to bomb them, so you can't use that to scare them anymore. Now they're like, oh, the Russians will get, yeah, whatever, shut the fuck up, they're not coming. We're doing what we want to do, right? School still had the bunker, though. Still had the bunker. So certain kids were sent to detention, right? Never to be seen again. Nobody knows where these fucking kids are going at all. Parents don't even know. The teachers at school are like, sent your kid home, detention, told him to go home early, didn't get home, it's not our problem, he's a trouble kid, right? Parents obviously worried. But small town, nobody really said anything, They went with the consensus for shit, which was kids must have ran away, because back then, that's what kids did from small towns. They wanted to get away from the small town feel, so they bounced. It wasn't uncommon for a 13-year-old kid to hit the train tracks, little stick, little bag, that you always see in the cartoons. The guy's like, I'm leaving. Yeah, that shit. So, boom. Kids are being locked in this dungeon, which is a bunker, underground, for years. They're old, some of them that lived long enough to be old, but most of them died, right? Now, fast forward. It's like 1960-something when they tore down that fucking school, finally, because it was sitting there, town dried up, as most towns do with fucking steel mills. And mad kids were still in that fucking bunker. Tore the shit down. So the story goes that there's actually still one of them left. And he's been or she's been living by eating the other fucking people. Now, of course, I'm me. I don't be believing that shit. So, of course, I go over there, start digging around and shit. Digging in the dirt. Finally hit some fucking rock. Pow! Right? Bam. Hit the rock. I know it's the bunker because they said there was one there. Or it's a piece of foundation. Either way, it's some rock. So it's not all bullshit, right? So I'm looking around maybe for a door. Find one, open it up, it stinks. Badly. Oh, God, the stench was horrendous. gagged, threw up a couple of times, headed on in. Looking around, flashlight in hand, see bones, and these bones look like they had been gnawed on. You know how like you gnaw on a chicken wing and shit, the cartilage to get all the meat off? That's what these bones look like. Little scraps of meat, chewed on, teeth marks. I saw them with my own eyes. Now, of course, I'm feeling a little creeped out by this. My youngest son is telling me, Dad, get out of there. It stinks. And you're going to come out and you're going to stink. And we're not going to want you in the tent with us stinking like death. That's just gross. I said, okay, I'm coming. Just wait. I hear this noise somewhere in the back of the bunker, right? It's like a scraping sound. Like metal on concrete. So like just scraping sound. It wasn't like a dragging sound, just scraping. So of course, me being me, I don't want to investigate it. I know that sound is not good, and I go to leave. But unfortunately, the fucking ladder is rusty as shit, and it snaps as I'm climbing up the shit. Bow, smack my fucking ass on the ground. Mad as hell I am. Mad as hell, right? Fucking hurting. Oh, my son's like, hey, Dad, you all right down there? I'm like, no. My ass hurts. Oh, where is this live taking place? We are in a small place in Ohio, in the woods. In the Ohio woods, near the valley of Ohio. So this place I'm talking about, I'm not sure the name of the town. I have no idea. I think it's Struthers. Struthers.
Yep.
It's either Struthers or Youngstown.
Yep, Struthers.
And it's dark. Yeah, it is dark as hell. The only reason we have light is because of it.
Struthers.
But yeah. Now, like I was saying, I'm in this damn, bunker underground. And I hear the scraping sound. I fell down, busted my ass. I'm mad. My son's like, hey, Dad, what's going on? Now, I smell the stink. We smelled the stink when we opened it. But this stink is warm. It's not like a stale stink. You know what I'm saying? It's like the type of stink that is coming off of something either living or recently dead, right? Like a hot piece of roadkill in the sun, or it's just a really stinking ass live person, right? So bam, this smell is getting closer to me, right? But I can't see shit. It's dark as fuck. I mean, I'm underground. It's a bunker, and it wasn't daytime when I did this. Why? I don't know. I don't know. But I did anyway. Now, remember, this person is supposed to be alive in this fucking bunker. So they say. Now, of course, if this shit happened back in the times of the Cold War and shit, even if there were a whole bunch of kids locked down there, this fucker has had, or fucker-et, should have died many years ago, right? So if there is something down there, it's either some kind of a fucking mutant or potentially a ghost. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But what it was not what I was expecting it to be. And it surprised the shit out of me because, and I kid you not, it was a fucking squirrel. A squirrel, right? Now you're probably saying to yourself, a fucking squirrel, that's not scary at all. It is scary because the squirrel spoke to me and asked me what the fuck I was doing in this bunker, right? And at the time when it asked me this shit, it had a foot bone in its fucking little paws and it was gnawing on it. And there was just a little bit of toe meat left. Just a little bit. I'm looking at this fucking squirrel, right? Like, are you seriously eating? Like, who are you eating? And how long has this person that you're eating been in this premises? Because that toe looks pretty fresh, I haven't heard of any missing people around here, but hey, you never know. Squirrels are crafty creatures. Trust me when I tell you they're crafty. They're crafty as fuck. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the bunker and this squirrel that came out. Now, you're probably saying, that's not scary. It gets worse. It gets worse. Because the squirrel wasn't the thing making all that noise. He's just one that popped up. Now, I know you were probably thinking, oh shit, the squirrel is, he was eating the foot bone with the toe on it, but he's not who brought the foot bone and toe into the bunker. He just so happened to scurry off with it. The scraping noise was still coming from deeper within. The stinky, warm smell coming closer to me was the squirrel with the foot bone and the piece of toe meat, and that's what was stinking. Athlete's foot or whatever, I don't know. So anyway, right? Bam. I'm inquisitive now. Like, I want to know more shit. Like, what's going on in there? What's happening? You know? What's really going on here? What's making the noise? Maybe this person is really alive, or perhaps maybe the squirrel ate him. Not that squirrels usually eat people that I know of. But, like I said, they're crafty. Trust me. Now, the stink is not as warm and hot anymore, but it still stinks. I want you to understand this. It's the kind of stink that you're covering your mouth and nose at the same time, because you don't want to smell it and you don't want to taste it, because it stinks bad enough that you know you're gonna taste it. You know this. You're like, oh God, what the fuck is, and then you throw up. And that's always the worst, is when you're trying to do some shit and now you're gagging, right? Like, who wants to gag while they're fucking investigating some shit like I'm doing, right? So I covered my face. Now, finally, the smell, you get used to it. I don't know what they call that shit when you get used to something that stinks really bad and, like, you don't smell it anymore. But I didn't smell it anymore, right? But the noise, I was looking for it. I finally come to the end of the bunker. There's like this old steel or iron door, rusted, creaked open as I pushed it. Made a lot of noise. Right? The noise stops. The noise fucking stops, right? The noise stops. I don't hear the scraping anymore, right? So now I'm a little nervous because it's dark. It's not, like, it's darker than what it is now. There's no candle. I mean, there's my flashlight on my phone and shit, but there's no other light, you know? I'm looking around now because obviously whatever was making the noise knows that I'm in there. How they didn't know I was in there before, and I busted my ass falling off the rickety, rusty ladder and was like, oh shit, fucking what the fuck? I don't know, but, you know, or when I was talking to the goddamn squirrel. Because we were having like a nice little conversation for a minute. You know, I was talking to him about this squirrel I know named Plush and Detective Bear and shit, and he was telling me how Captain Hawk is really a fucking asshole, busting him a couple of times for having some like squirrel weed and some nuts that he shouldn't have had. You know, he told me the whole thing, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm looking around with my flashlight inside this room, in this bunker, and inside this room is a metal table with these like, looks like wheels, and there's chains on them, right? And I'm saying to myself, I used to read books on the Spanish Inquisition and shit, Catholic Inquisition, whatever Inquisition it was, but they tortured people for religious sake. So I was reading these books because they were interesting to me. And they had this torture device where they put you on a table, right? They take your arms, they take your legs, and they put you in like cufflinks with chains. And then they keep cranking these fucking things ever so often until they stretch you and your arms and legs pop out, like literally pop off your body. So I'm looking at this table and I recognize that that's the type of table it is. So, you know, I go in. I don't know why. I know what you're thinking. Why would you go in there? Like, that's perfect place for ghosts and other crazy shit to have been in. And it was the type of place that ghost would have been in if a ghost was in there, but there wasn't a ghost in there. It was just a fucking steel table with wheels and shit. So obviously, me being me, I start antagonizing potential ghost shit. I'm like, hey, I heard something scraping in here, goddammit. You don't you try to act like I don't hear you, you son of a bitch. Scrape some more. If you're a ghost, we'll knock 3 times or some shit, or turn my flashlight off. And my flashlight went off, but it wasn't because the ghost did it. I accidentally hit the fucking button as I was trying to like turn the volume up on my earbuds. And, you know, I accidentally hit the flashlight and it went off. So I was like, oh, and then I realized, you know, what I did. But that didn't stop what happened next from happening. A brick. It was in the wall, right? You know, like how you see bricklaying done in old days and like the grout wears away and then you'll have like, you can see the separate bricks. Well, there was a brick and it flew off the wall. Almost hit me right in the fucking face. Went right past me. Scraped the side of my eye. Didn't hit it. Like I said, just about. Scraped me. Blood dripping a little bit. I'm mad as fuck because why would you throw a fucking brick at me? I'm not being disrespectful. I just want to know if you ate all the people that are in here or the squirrels did it. That's the question I have. And like, why? Because obviously you were a bad kid. Did they put you in here? So, these are the questions I'm asking to myself, but not out loud. Whatever thing threw the brick at me starts making this breathing noise. Sort of like as if it was walking upstairs and it was a fat person and was really tired. Like, so that's what I hear, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it starts crying, whimpering, like a child, Which I was thinking to myself, fat kid must have got in the cake. They got mad, sent them to the fucking bunker. And I was right. But it wasn't cake. It wasn't cake. It was cupcakes. He ate all of them, right? Threw them down there in the fucking bunker with the quickness. The kids were mad as fuck because it was somebody's birthday party. And they went to go blow out the fucking candles. And the little fat fucker ate the fucking cupcakes. All of them. He's sitting there, cheeks rosy red, plump. Chocolate all over his fucking face. Into the dungeon he went. Bunker. When his parents came there looking for his fat ass, they told the parents that he ran away because, the kids were bullying him about being fat. Now, of course, the parents are like, ran away? He's fucking fat. We know he didn't run anywhere. And if he did, you should be able to find him right now, even if it's been 12 hours. He's not going far. And he was fat, like I said. Huge fucking fat kid. Fat kid. They threw him in this dungeon with other fucking kids that weren't fat. But they were kids nonetheless. And they told this son of a bitch he was having no more Twinkies, no more ho-hos, no more hostesses, no more little Debbie cakes. Done. Done. No more little Debbies.
They stopped on.
There just so happened to be a girl named Debbie, and she was little.
Debbie.
And he said to them, oh, I will have little Debbie.
Little Debbie.
And he did. He ate her.
Ooh.
He ate her in front of the other kids. Now, of course, you're saying to yourself, well, why wouldn't they have stopped him? They tried. But he loves cake. And he loved that little Debbie like he loved cake. And trying to get between him and that little Debbie was like trying to get your fingers bit off taking a fucking baby back rib from me.
Oh, that's crazy.
Finger looking good it was. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming it was because he ate all of her. All of her. You're probably asking, how did I know this? Because I told you I'm in this room, right? And no, I didn't see a ghost. It was an old, skinny guy. But his skin looked like he used to be fat. And he just lost weight really quick. Because it was hanging off of him. It looked fucking gross. And he wasn't wearing clothes, but you couldn't tell he wasn't wearing clothes because his skin was so fucking just draping and falling off the bones. Because obviously he ran out of people to eat because he ate them all, being the fat fuck that he was. He went through those fucking 12 kids that they had down there within a few days. Pause. When the fucking school found out that this fat ass bastard was eating these kids,
like Wingstop.
Yeah, like Wingstop. They started putting more kids down there. You didn't even have to get in trouble anymore. Like, if they just didn't like the cut of your jib, which was a big word back then, they'd throw you in there. I don't like the cut of his jib. What? Yeah, Jacob. He's been walking around here acting like he smells his own salt. Huh? Well, you know what I mean. He's feeling himself, and I don't like it. He's captain of the football team. All the girls like him. I remember when that was me back in the day, and it's not me now, and I'm going bald, and I don't like him. So throw Jacob in the goddamn bunker. And they did. And of course, Fat Boy ate him. Then it became a thing where they had to feed Fat Boy. It was one day, he tried to bust out the bunker. And that wasn't good for the school, which is why the school ended up getting closed, because people started asking fucking questions about what the hell was going on down there. Fire happened. Principal set the school on fire, just to let you know. Because he was the main culprit, or she. I'm not sure on the details of whether it was a man or a woman, but it was a principal nonetheless that burned the school down, and no one ever found out about the bunker for years. What was funny is when I was looking into purchasing said land, I was like, yeah. They're like, what are you gonna do with it? I was like, I'm gonna build a house in underground. Oh, you can't dig into the ground. I'm like, huh? Why would I buy land I can't dig? What if I want to plant fucking peppers, which I do want to plant peppers, but I would have to dig in the ground. But yeah, you can't dig in the ground. So then what is the purpose of buying this? So you can do anything you want on top of the ground. But under the ground, don't go. Now you know why you can't go under the ground. Now, this fat, well, he's not fat, but if you were to inflate him, which I did, I want you to know this, because his skin was leathery. It was leathery. And I just wanted to see how fat this fuck had gotten before his skin just drooped off of him. So I got one of those little, things that you pump up tires with, air pump, but not for tires, for a basketball, because it has that little pin that you can stick in shit. And I stuck it in some of his fucking flabby skin. Well, not flabby, just flappy. And I started pumping it up. It took me about 12 hours. By the time I had finished inflating this guy, he was like a huge ball of really disgusting looking pale skin and blood veins and shit. It was gross and monstrous looking. I wanted to kill him immediately after seeing him, but then I remembered that I wanted to know how fat he was in the first place, and he didn't ask me to do that. He didn't ask, but I did it anyway. And then he took the liberty of asking me to bring him outside. I said, look, all right, I'm stuck in this fucking place because your rusty ass ladder broke when I was going back up it. Fell, hurt my ass, talked to a squirrel. He's like, you talked to the squirrel? I was like, yeah, I talked to the squirrel. He said, yeah, Mike's a nice guy. What? Mike? Yeah, Mike. I was like, that's fucked up. He told me his name was fucking Jeff. Lying ass fucking squirrel. See, you can't trust them. They're crafty as fuck. Telling me all types of fucking names and shit. He could have told me his name was fucking Mike. Or how do I know his name really isn't Mike or Jeff? He could be Plush. Although I know he's not Plush because I met Plush and Plush is cool to a certain degree. Anyway, back to my story, right? Bam. Floppy skinned, fat cannibal man wants me to bring him out into the light of the world, and I just tell him that there's no way this is going to happen. Now, this man has been eating people for like the past, I guess, 60 to 57, 70 years. 70 years. Because I say he was in there from like the 1950s and shit. Cold War era. So he's been in there for a minute, eating people, and now he's skinny as fuck, and he used to be fat. And I just told him that he can't leave there. Now, I'm not a big dude. As you can see, I'm relatively slender by most standards. But I'm a tough little guy, so I'm thinking to myself, I probably look like a Slim Jim or some beef jerky to him. Because he's looking at me like he wants to eat me. He's licking his lips back and forth. And I'm like, what's going on there, buddy? Dry lips? You need some chapstick? He's like, no. No chapstick. I've lived without it for past 60, 70 years. What do I need with chapstick? I said, so then what the fuck are you doing licking your fucking lips like that? It's like, just thinking of how long it's been since I've had a decent meal. I punched him right in the fucking face. Immediately. And then I ran into another part of the bunker. Then I thought about it for a second. He's got tons and tons of skin hanging all over him. He's not going to be able to catch me that fast. But I was wrong. He could fly. Well, glide. Like a squirrel. Flying squirrels? He just held the flaps of skin flat and floated through the air. Came at me like a mosquito. Swatted him down. Kept moving, right? He's mad now. He's yelling and screaming all types of obscenities at me as he's running through this fucking darkened goddamn bunker. Oh, I'm gonna eat you, you son of a bitch. Come back here, you bastard. And other things from that time era, and I can't repeat it because the insults that he spit at me were insults that I'm not familiar with. So I'm actually not sure if he was insulting me or not. He could have been complimenting me, but he wanted to eat me. That much I know, because hungry and eat are not words that change in any culture or any place or any time. Hungry, eat is the same, always. So, right, I get back to the spot where the opening and the ladder is. And I start screaming up there, hey, hey! And of course, a train starts fucking blowing its goddamn horn, so nobody fucking hears me. And this keeps happening, right? I gotta run around this goddamn thing for like, and you're probably saying, well, how big is this bunker? It's fucking huge. It's like a quarter-acre bunker underground, several little chambers, rooms, and this fat kid. Well, not fat kid, but used to be fat kid running around here thinking he's gonna eat me. Here's the thing, right? You would think that since he was stuck in there when he was a kid, he would act like that dude from the fucking show From, Victor, all slow and stuck like a... No, this guy was acting like a regular dickhead adult that knew he was fat. Now, I'm assuming it was because they kept throwing people down there, or kids. Maybe people as time went on. And he was eating them and learning some shit. Or maybe he was talking to them and they bought him a newspaper. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he wasn't dumb like a fucking little kid. Anyway, I'm at the door, screaming, train making noise. Can't get anybody. He comes up behind me with a butcher knife that he made from a rock that he carved obviously for years. And he's like, I've been waiting to use this for quite some time. Tries to stab me with it, right? I move out the way. Quick dodge. Parry, if you will. Knock the fucking stone knife out of his hand. It breaks on the ground. He starts crying like a baby. You broke my knife. How am I going to eat you now? I'm like, are you seriously asking me how you're going to eat me? You're not going to eat me because I don't want to be eaten. Shit. Like, who the fuck? What? So I punched him again. Now, when I punched him this time, my hand got caught up in one of the folds of his flaps of skin, right? And I felt it. And it felt sort of like heavy, wet paper. It was gross. It was so gross. And when I took my hand away from him, after it sunk into his folds and his flesh, I could smell the stink that I had smelled when I came down there first. This guy, literally, was rotting while he was living. Now, I don't know why. I'm going to assume, probably because of all the flaps of skin not being able to be washed properly and him being in a bunker with no water, that eventually the stench of bacteria grew, into a life form of its own, which it did. It was talking to him like things talk to me. And that was one of the reasons he had gone fucking completely and totally insane. Now, I know what you're wondering. How did you get out of the fucking bunker? And what happened with the goddamn guy? I'm about to tell you right now. And then I'm going to take my ass to sleep because it's time to go to sleep. Just sleep. To sleep, not just sleep. Shut the fuck up, woman. Anyway, so, right, I get out because I'm yelling and screaming, and finally somebody hears me. They call the fire department. They throw a ladder down there, right? So I'm coming out, and I'm like, wait. Don't pull the ladder up just yet. There's a guy down there. It's a fat guy. Been down there since, like, the fucking 50s and shit. Ate a whole bunker full of people. There's bones down there. I'm not sure if that's illegal. I mean, I know cannibalism is illegal, but I mean, since he got thrown into a bunker with other people and no food, I don't know if that should be illegal. Now, of course, they're looking at me like, what? Cannibal from 1950s? So they pull the guy out and they see his skin looking all fucking flappy and shit. They're disgusted. There's an old guy. Old. He's like the fire chief. He's old as shit. Comes over. And he breaks down and starts fucking crying. I'm looking at him like, well, thank you for the, tears of joy for my recovery, but I don't even know you. He pushes me to the side and looks at the flappy skinned man that, came up with me and hugs him. He's like, I knew I'd find you, my son. And that is the end of tonight's story. So I hope you enjoyed some prime impromptu, just toss together shit. But I'm tired now, and I'm gonna take my ass to sleep in this tent under the fucking stars in nature. If you'd like, I'll leave you with some nature sounds for a little bit before you go to sleep. So there you go, and have a wonderful night.